Hey everybody, so today we have our first Q&A from those at Focus Entertainment on Space Marine 2. This is going to be answering some of the questions that you guys and myself included have been wondering about different aspects of the game. So it says here, you the players were invited to help us grow the game by submitting your ideas and upvoting others, and you flooded the forum with posts. Don't feel left behind if you post your feedback on Discord, Reddit, Steam, or Twitter. We also check all the other platforms, but Focus Together is our main platform for feedback, and we're so glad to see such enthusiasm and dedication coming from the community. But these ideas are wasted if we don't address them, so here are a few answers to your hottest topics. Before you read this Q&A, many of the submitted ideas are feature plans for the future and have already been communicated via the roadmap. If you missed it, make sure you take a note of it here, which you guys can see. I'm very curious what the sparring arena is going to be look like. This video isn't about that, so I don't want to focus. Let's continue, right? So for those of you guys that have playing, whether it was during the early access or since launch, there has been numerous of connectivity issues that we've been dealing with, mainly in PvP from what I've experienced, but it does happen in operations as well, connecting with people, loading screens hanging, disconnecting, the numerous of different issues. So it says here, we know some of you are experiencing server issues, loss of saves, or impossibility to connect with friends. We are ramping up our server capacity to reduce the load on them and are working day and night to reduce the issues. This is a top priority for the team. A bigger patch is planned soon to improve this topic further alongside new content, which I cannot wait. We need those servers to stop acting up so we can actually play. Having to restart your game multiple times in order to actually find a match. There's just been a lot of issues there, unfortunately. Now for AI bots, question. Bots are regularly mentioned as inefficient, making solo games significantly harder, and you suggested we work on them. According to you, they don't participate in focusing on objectives or do enough in tense situations. And the answer to this is bots seem a bit passive because we don't want them to take the spotlight from the players. However, they can sometimes be a bit too passive, and in the next patch, we have a few improvements of their behavior against boss fights in the campaign. We're consider improving their involvement during specific objectives in the campaign for a later patch. Now, I don't know how many of you guys have been playing through the campaign. I was playing it on veteran, and during a particular mission, I literally saw the AI just pop a few shots here and there. They weren't hardly doing anything. I feel like they do really well when it comes to picking you up if you're down, but outside of that, yeah, I feel like they're way too passive and they definitely need to be adjusted accordingly. It would be nice in the game if you were actually able to command them, but unfortunately you're not able to. Now for the campaign, veteran difficulty is said to be a bit too hard in solo as the bots don't help with the objective. Their answer to this is they will be adjusting the veteran difficulty in a future patch, and it remains challenging, but it will be slightly more fair because they will tweak the AI's aggressiveness on this difficulty and other difficulties will remain untouched. So now for the PvE balancing, Assault is often listed as less powerful than the other classes. The jump pack in PvE loses its versatility compared to the ones in the campaign. They're still collecting data on this issue and they'll see how they can work on it. The blocking weapon trait is seen by the community as a bad thing for melee weapon as it removes the potential for mastery because there is no perfect parry window. We fully agree that this is a bummer and will definitely make changes in a future patch. Bolt rifle family is underperforming while the Melta gun is considered OP. We've noticed a bug where the Melta allows the user to heal above contested health, and we aim to fix this in the next patch. I didn't realize that actually was a bug. I've been running the Melta gun a lot on all of the different classes that have it, especially for the heavy. That's what I was leveling or in operations. But I believe either on the tactical and Vanguard, I think the Melta gun is on that class too. I may be wrong about that. It makes sense. It says, as for the rest of the weapon balancing, we hear you, and some weapons can underdeliver on the power fantasy at a higher difficulty levels. We also recognize that enemies can be a little bit too bullet spongy on higher difficulty, which is not much fun. That's the core issue rather than the bolters themselves. For now, we are testing some tweaks in difficulty to make the enemies have less health, but keep the engaging difficulty, which I'm glad. It seems like maybe, they're looking at the way that Helldivers was and what Arrowhead did with the game. Don't want to go down that same route. So far, we'll see how things change over time. Now, for quality of life, you asked to be able to have several of the same class in operations. There's also frustration in matchmaking when two players want to be the same class. For now, we are focusing on improving matchmaking so that you will not matchmake with players of the same class. This is not an easy fix, so it will take us some time to roll it out. As for using the same class, we don't want to change that rule for our regular matchmaking, but we are considering as an expansion of private lobbies in the future. It will take us time to finish it. So I definitely see the problem with that. That's why I suggest for those of you that are playing operations, definitely play more than one class. In the scenario where you join into a random lobby, or say you're playing with a friend and they happen to want to run same class as you can switch to something else. There was a couple of times where I joined a lobby and both of the classes I had level up, those were the ones that was unavailable. So I was like, yeah, let me level up a third one just to have ready. The next question is, it was observed that players tend to show toxic behavior as they get kicked late during a game made by a group of friends to let their friend get the XP. We understand this is unfair and each player will receive XP based on his actual involvement in the mission. Thankfully, I haven't run into this issue, but it doesn't come as a surprise to me, which is really fucked up. But yeah, don't be like that. The next one is, save loadouts don't include skill tree customization, making them less relevant. This is not a priority for us at the moment. I personally don't really see this as a problem, kind of whatever. If they do that, cool. I rather them focus on the server connectivity issues and ironing those out so we can actually play the game. Now, for PvP matchmaking, you have suggested making it possible to tag as a squad of 6. Yes, I really would like this feature because it doesn't make any sense given that it's a 6v6, but you're only able to party up with 2 other of your friends in order to queue up for matchmaking. They said that we understand this need. We want to add custom PvP lobbies and give players more control over the match. For example, frag limit, class restriction, etc. It's not easy to make and it takes time, so please bear with us while we work on it. We will let you know when we have a clear visibility on when it will be released. There again, so far it seems like they're really listening to the feedback that we have for the game, and some of these things is not something that they can just do overnight because it's a lot of balancing and making sure things are in line, the stuff that we would like to see in the game. Now, for balancing, it says it was brought to our attention that shock grenades are OP. Also, many considered melee to be underpowered. Assault is considered weak in PvP, Bulwark is overpowered in capture zones, and heavy is overpowered, too much damage for its durability. Yes, the shock grenades are freaking crazy with how much it freaking blinds you if you get hit by it. I love the heavy class, but I could see, it's definitely overpowered in that regard. And then Bulwark too, like unless you get behind them or use the assault class, I don't know how to effectively deal with a Bulwark like one-on-one. You definitely need more people in order to kill a Bulwark, in my opinion, or hit him with the shock grenade. I personally don't think the assault class is weak or underpowered by any means. What I think the problem is that people don't know how to make the most out of that kit. You want to use a combination of your pistol as well as your melee weapon, because I've definitely seen people go crazy when you know how to utilize that kit. You can catch people off guard, hover in the air over any of the other class to have a good bird's eye view of map, come raining down on them with your melee or your charged melee attack. Yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with playing the assault class as well. So it's just learning the way that your class work and getting the most out of it when you do use it, depending on the scenario or the situation that you're in. So in which they said, regarding the PvP balancing, we are currently reading and crunching the data. We don't want to make rash decisions before seeing the global picture. At the moment, we are checking the most common topics such as melee balancing, shock grenades, Bulwark, and heavy being too present in capture game modes. Expect some tweaks in the first big content patch, but not before. No team balancing after match creates unbalanced matches for several matches in a row. We have heard this many times and we want to improve this in a future patch, and we're looking into it. I feel like that is definitely something that's needed in this game, because when you're in a lobby like that where it feels really lopsided or that team is just better than yours, it sucks because you'll play with the same players again and then you're like, okay, well, it's time for us to back out and get a new lobby. Okay, for spawning, this is definitely a big issue that they need to address when it comes to the PvP in this game. Spawning locations can create spawn kill situations. This will be tweaked with some parameters in a future patch, and we will implement spawn protection, which is very much needed because you'll have people camp the spawns regardless of what mode it is that you're playing in Internal War. For the most upvoted topics on Focus Together, are we getting new color for the lenses? New lens colors are planned and coming soon in the next big patch. Definitely can't wait for this. I would love to have another color other than red, you know. You asked to pick the Chaos Space Marine Legion you want for every class. There are many lore restrictions preventing us from doing this. For instance, we cannot make a sniper with a World Eater armor. It is very tricky to match armor pieces for Chaos. Armor pieces have different size and styles and will clip through each other. Also in PvP, it is important to be able to recognize an enemy's class, and we want to keep the visual identity of each of them. Now, we will not keep it as it is and would like to expand the Chaos customization, but the reality is they won't be as modular as the Loyalists. I'm glad that they're going to expand on it, but they're also trying to still stay true to the Chaos Space Marine Legion. Now the next answer is, many of you asked for new classes, and they said this is definitely something we're heavily discussing. Adding a new class is quite heavy on production, as we also need to create all customization. PvE Chaos model variants and animation set depending on what we go for. We'll keep you updated about this topic. That would be pretty dope to see. Definitely excited for the future of this game, and it's definitely going to be a game that I keep in the rotation because I've been enjoying it a lot. I'm definitely looking forward to the future of this game. The next thing is about the missing armor colors. We aim to expand specific color masses such as hands, decals, or face masks in upcoming patches, and we'll be adding all of the successor chapters eventually. It is definitely dope to see. Then adding new melee weapons. New melee weapons would definitely be an extremely cool addition. Making a new weapon and designing it is fine, but we need to make all the finisher animations for it, and it will take time. Completely understandable. Again, I'm no game developer, but these things just don't happen overnight just because we want or ask for them. It's going to take time on their part to do all of those things in order to make it happen. Next thing it says, customizing your Marine's face. Not a quick fix, they said, but they will add an option to change your Marine's face in the future. The other thing is optimizing PvP crossplay. We'll need more time to discuss that. Custom PvP lobbies will solve a good part of the issue. Next one is Thunderhawk customization. Doing full battle barge and Thunderhawk customization is very cool, but not in our priority list. We prefer to focus our arts team on creating new maps. Yes, I would love to have new maps in this game than the 3 that we have so far. It says Pyroblaster in PvE or PvP. We will add it, but it will take time because of visual and gameplay progression. We'll keep you updated. To be able to customize the AI squad mates, that's still in discussions. Delete custom armor profile. We worked on this, and in the next patch you'll be able to overwrite a custom preset with the default one. Yes, trying to figure out how to customize. You might accidentally create one such like myself and not have the ability to get rid of it. Next is FOV slider and left and right shoulder swap. This was something that I had complained about, especially the right and left shoulder swap. It says here, FOV slider is not something we're comfortable with as it can degrade the visual aspect of the game. And on top of it, it is very complex. Our game is not a first-person shooter. The camera that we have is very cinematic and constantly changes position and FOV based on what you're doing. Still, we understand that this is a very popular request, so we're considering it anyways. As for the shoulder swap, if we are able to implement shoulder swap, we will need to support it for all melee animations and transitions, because everything in melee combat was made based on the fact that you hold the pistol in the left hand and melee weapon in the right hand because it looks badass. Nevertheless, shoulder swap is a feature we will not add in the game. So there you have it there, guys. That is not going to happen, which makes sense, you know, considering what they just explained. I wish that was a feature that would be added to the game, but I understand that that is clearly something that's very complex in order for them to do. Next one is get rid of class restriction on cloaks and tabards. They said that this is part of class identity. You get to recognize snipers because of those elements. Now for iframe on gun strikes. Gun strikes are a risk and reward action, and it's very easy to spam. We specifically did not put iframes on it for balancing reasons, and we're not looking to change just intention. So there you guys have it. What do you guys think of all of this? I like the fact that when it comes to certain things, they are standing firm on it, while other aspects about things that we suggested as a community, they're open to discussing it and changing in the future, or have already made these changes going forward with an upcoming patch. If you made it to the end of this video, let me know what has been your favorite class down below in the comments section. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, thanks for watching.